Hello, everyone, and welcome to an unscheduled episode of Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. We have breaking news from Lewiston, Maine. An active shooter at this point has shot and killed. The preliminary reports are that 22 people at three different locations. Uh, this is a breaking story, so it is open to information changing at a moment's notice. But Phil, I wanted to get your pick on this. You called me and informed me of this. You have a little bit more information than I do at this point.
Okay, Billy. As of now, it's looking like 22 people may have been killed, between 50 and 60 injured at three different locations. First location sounds like a bowling alley. Police have released a photo of the shooter. He's wearing a brown like hoodie. He has like cargo pants on. I think, yeah, that's the shot right there. That's obviously inside the bowling alley. There's another shot you could see to the right on the lower right-hand corner. Those are bowling pins. And to the left, there was some bowling balls in a different shot that I saw. It looks like he's entering the bowling alley here. The rifle appears to be like an AR style rifle, AR-15 style rifle with a scope. It also looked like on the sides of his pants that he had extra magazines, possibly. That's what it looked. The other two locations were a local bar and a Walmart distribution center. Everything is fluid right now, as you said, Bill. A lot of confusion, probably a lot of miscommunication. Right now, those are preliminary numbers. It does sound like this is going to be a mass casualty event, very unfortunately.
Well, let me play a little bit of this. This is breaking news here.
Is with us now. Liz, bring us up to speed as much as you can. Obviously, things are moving very, very quickly here, but we're looking to you to give us the latest. What do you know?
Hey, yeah, obviously this is unfolding right now, and the details coming in are very sad. We know now from police that at least 22 people have been killed. Dozens of people are injured. Police say that a gunman opened fire in at least 3 kids and families would gather. The hospital, the Central Maine Medical Center, is saying that this is a mass casualty event that they are responding to. Law enforcement, again, saying that the shooter went to 3 different locations and that gunman is still on the loose. They did release a picture of a suspect, a pretty scary picture of a man there holding a rifle. And that man, the gunman, is still on the loose right now. This has prompted a shelter-in-place order in Lewiston and the surrounding areas. Residents there have been told to shelter in place, to lock their doors, to not leave their homes as this manhunt gets underway. We know that the ATF Boston is now responding. A White House official says that President Biden has been briefed. The governor of Maine has also been briefed and is monitoring and telling people to heed the warnings, heed that shelter-in-place order, and stay inside. So again, this is in Lewiston, Maine, about 45 minutes north of Portland, Maine, for some reference. It's a evolving situation right now, but police are saying that at least 22 people have been killed, dozens more injured, and yet another mass shooting here in the U.S., Jake.
Thanks for watching.
So, Phil, horrendous situation. There's a pretty good picture of him from the shots that were taken from surveillance video in the bowling alley and potentially other locations. I'm understanding from people that are in the chat, they may actually have a plate number of the shooter. With the technology we have today, there's a good chance that they could potentially put his face on facial recognition technology and have him identified. Now this is moving into, of course, the investigative part of it. 50 to 60 people injured, 22 people dead. Obviously, a horrific situation here in Lewiston, Maine. They need all the police personnel, all the FBI personnel, all the investigators possible to respond to this scene, because apparently the shooter is still at large.
You know, Billy, I saw when I walked past the TV quickly on Fox News, there was a picture of a vehicle. It looked like a late model 4-door Subaru. They were talking about maybe a black bumper on it, tan in color. They believe that that could be involved in the shooting. They also had some roadblocks up they were talking about. So perhaps they could be possibly focusing in on that vehicle to maybe detain and see if that is the actual shooter. Bill, when you talk about these 3 locations, they don't kind of fall into like a random category to me. It sounds,
Phil, I'm seeing they have a name, at least in the chat. They're saying suspect, a Robert Card. I don't know if that's accurate. That's someone in the chat.
okay.
We'll have to look into
Yes,
that.
I see that. I see Robert Card. Yeah, that there's going to be a lot of stuff going around being reported that may or may not be accurate. So we have to be careful not to report inaccurate stuff. That may be correct. There's pretty good pictures of his face when you look at the pictures that I saw on the cable news channels. He looks like a male white, probably in about 30s to 40s, possibly a lot of facial hair, thin build. I really couldn't get a good idea of the height, although he didn't look too he didn't look too short to me. One of the other things I was saying, this looks like it could be personal in nature to me. A bowling alley, then a bar, then a Walmart distribution center. Perhaps maybe those are just places in the area that had a lot of people. Although, at this time of the evening, I think, McDonald's, different things like that. There could be people in those kind of locations. So it could be some type of a disgruntled person going after people. I'm just surmising at this point. Obviously, there's no information
Look,
on
folks,
that.
this is going to change by the minute. There's
Absolutely.
information coming in. We don't know if it's accurate. They're saying they located his car already. Are there other people involved? Is this a lone shooter, a lone active shooter? It's obviously it's dangerous that he hasn't yet to be apprehended, but that's why we're following this breaking news. Let me play a little bit of this here.
That is all we really know right now. We are waiting for some more information. We are told that a police spokesperson will be coming to us here at City Hall. So we're expected to get some more details soon. Amanda, I'm going to toss things back to you.
And we do have multiple crews in that area, Alex. Thank you. So we hope to learn more from the scenes once we're allowed to be a little bit closer. And obviously, we're giving police some space to kind of do what they need to do.
Yeah, because this is an active situation. They're saying that there are possibly multiple scenes. Right now, at least 2 scenes confirmed. I also want to address the hospital situation here. We said that Central Maine Medical Center just releasing a statement to us telling us that they are reacting to a, quote, mass casualty, mass shooter event. At this time, there are no specifics to share on the number of casualties. Central Maine Healthcare is coordinating with area hospitals to take in patients, and they will keep us updated as soon as they get more information. But again, this is an active situation.
Folks, we're having information that we're getting as 22 people dead, as many as 50 to 60 people injured. So we don't know if, in fact, if that's accurate at this point. We're going to try to follow the news people on the ground that are actually on the scene with the most up-to-date information.
And so they are dealing with that right now.
And we did hear from St. Mary's again earlier, who said they were busy in a breaking meeting talking about how they were going to handle all of this. So I'm sure they're very busy as well where they are.
And I believe we have a statement from Lewiston Public Schools. Of course, school isn't in session at the moment, but school leaders tell us that the schools were placed into lockdown during evening activities, if there happened to be any. I believe we have that statement, but
Phil, I think they're a little bit behind the 8 ball, this station here. So
Yeah.
I think we need to get much better up-to-date information. But the whole thing with an active shooter is an active shooter needs to be stopped, because mine is being stopped through someone confronting or shooting or killing the active shooter. They will keep shooting people until they run out of bullets, or sometimes in these situations, the active shooter winds up committing suicide. But
Yeah, a lot of these do end in either suicide by cop or a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We've been through this so many times, Billy. It's very distressing. And then, once these shootings take place, there's always an outcry for the Second Amendment, to take guns away from law-abiding citizens. However, in these situations, if there was somebody in that bowling alley that was armed with a firearm, perhaps they could have taken out the shooter before he went to the other locations. Just throwing that out there. Bill, there's a lot of pictures of the vehicle. Perhaps if you could find a picture of the vehicle, that might be helpful in maybe locating
All right,
this
let me
guy.
see.
It's
All
a,
right.
like I said, it's a late model 4-door Subaru, tan in color, one of those Subaru with maybe with a hatchback. That's the vehicle that I saw when I was last on. I saw that on NBC News. They were showing that. NBC News broke into the regular programming. There's obviously a shelter in place. The same three commands that we always talk about: run, hide, fight. If you're faced with a shooter, a mass shooter, a person comes in with a rifle and begins shooting, if you could run away, obviously, and get far away as you can from the shooter. If you can't run, then you can hide. And if you can't hide, then try to fight. Pick up anything within your reach. Try and distract the shooter. Usually, a lot of these shooters they go do it out of rage and control. And when things start flying back at them, specifically bullets, it usually changes their mindset. It causes them some confusion, and perhaps a shooter can be overtaken. Oh, there's the vehicle there. That's the vehicle that was in question that they were looking for. Like I said, late model Subaru, tan in color. Looks like a Subaru hatchback. And I did see that they mentioned something about a dark bumper in the front. This possibly connected to the mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine. There it is again. That's the mass shooter there, holding a AR style rifle with a scope. And if you look at his clothing, his pants, it looks like he possibly has some extra ammunition, some extra clips on those cargo pants. It doesn't appear that he's wearing any type of body armor. There's no helmet or hat or any type like that. Some of these past shootings, they throw a GoPro camera on to try and videotape these horrible shootings. But that's a pretty good shot of the shooter there. As you could see, that's as he's entering the bowling alley. Let's keep our fingers crossed that the shooting and the death and destruction is over. Let's keep our fingers crossed and say a prayer that whoever is injured, they can make a full recovery, and thoughts and prayers for the people that have lost their lives.
These separate locations that we are hearing about from authorities.
Right. Well, we do know that this all began to unfold just after 7 p.m. I listened to the scanner just now. The authorities talking about multiple people down at least 2 locations. You can see them there. Shemeni's Bar and Grill and Spare Time Recreation. That's a bowling alley. Those are the first 2 locations that authorities have been investigating shootings at. And we just learned from the Sun Journal newspaper in Maine that a third location, that Walmart distribution center, may also be the site of another shooting. You see there the suspect who is still at large. The sheriff's department, Androscoggin County Sheriff's Department, is calling on people to, and the state police are calling on people to shelter in place, both in Lewiston and in the nearby town of Auburn. That's a town about 2 miles away. You can see that the stretch of area there in Maine. These are relatively small towns, but there's still a lot more information we need to gather on this unfolding situation. What we do know, though, is that authorities in Maine are investigating at least 2, possibly 3 different locations for shooting events, and they're looking for this man, as you can see there, holding a long gun, looks like a powerful weapon. Multiple people down. We don't yet know an exact number, but of course, Caitlin, we do know that gun violence is a common problem in America. This is, if this pans out into multiple people being injured, this is at least the 3rd mass shooting happening in America this month.
And Athena, I mean, obviously this is breaking. I know that you're listening to this police scanner. You're speaking to the authorities, trying to learn more about this. But what do we know so far about the multiple locations here? That seems to be a key part of this.
It's unclear. They're putting out a picture of just one person. We do not know if that means that they believe there is only one shooter, but certainly they have a picture of a shooter. The first 2 locations that were reported, one was the Spare Time Recreation. That is a bowling alley, recreation games area. The other is a bar and grill. And then the third, a Walmart distribution center. They're not right around the corner from each other. They appear to be near each other. But we still don't know if this person may have been working with other people. We don't know where this person is, of course, right now. And that is why authorities, both the Androscoggin County Sheriff's Office, Maine State Police, telling residents in these two towns, Lewiston and Auburn, to shelter in place. We also heard that the schools are on lockdown. We understand there are events happening at area schools tonight as well. And we know that the governor of Maine, Janet Mills, has put out a statement saying that she's monitoring this situation. So still unfolding. This has been going on now for it looks like about 2 hours. That 2 hours ago that these incidents began, and still a very, very active situation as authorities search for this person who is still on the loose. At least one person, the shooter who's still on the loose. Caitlin.
Athena, we're going to let you continue to talk to your sources, speak to the authorities about the details that they're learning of this. You stand by. I also want to bring in CNN's chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst, John Miller, is here. First, John, we know this suspect is still at large. Can you tell what kind of weapon that is he has in this photo that has been released? I mean, what questions do you have about what not only what that is, but what he could be doing right now, given he's apparently not been captured yet?
So that's an AR-15 style rifle. It appears he has a telescopic sight mounted on top of it, which he seems to be looking over. Some of those sights come with a laser optic where you can see a red dot on the sight, so you can actually look from a distance. Wherever you see the dot is where the bullet is going to land. That's kind of very common in combat situations, police situations. But the brown hoodie, the blue tactical pants, you can see the pockets on the side are bulging out, which is likely he's carrying additional magazines. What we're getting right now is, and this comes from multiple law enforcement sources, is they believe they have 16 deceased and between 50 and 60 injured or shot. That is a stunning number. Now, this is preliminary, and these numbers are subject to change. We don't know from authorities up there if the 50 to 60
Wait, John,
are
can you just
all
say those
people.
numbers one more time? I just want to be really clear. Can you just repeat those
Sure.
one more time?
What we're getting from multiple sources is that they have 16 deceased. That's people who were shot and killed in this incident across those locations. And then between 50 and 60 who were injured. Now, of the 50 to 60, we don't know if all of them were wounded by gunfire or others may have been injured in the stampede to get out of the way or to leave the building or to flee. But these are extraordinarily significant numbers if they don't change.
And John, I would just want to update everyone as this is breaking news. This is happening in this moment as we're learning new details. What we have confirmed is that Central Maine Medical Center has said that they are responding to a mass casualty event right now. Obviously, we're learning more details, but they do say that they're coordinating with other hospitals in the area to take in patients. It seems to suggest that there would be a large number of people that they're taking in. But I think a key part of this, in addition to that response, is this person in this photo is still at large right now. I mean, what are they doing trying to find him right now?
Well, what they're doing is what we're helping with right now, which is they gathered this video, they froze it to the best image they could get of the individual's face looking over the gun. They put it out to us and other media immediately. This is something that agencies have struggled with, but going to the crowd source, which is everybody watching who may have seen this individual today, may spot him tonight on the road or at a gas station or on the street, or may know him personally or from social media. That is the crowdsourcing that they are doing to try and get the public to contact them either directly or over social media to say, this is who this individual is, because that would allow them, A, to go look for him where they think he might be, B.
You know, Phil, we're not sure that I'm getting from the chat that his name is Robert Card. I don't know if you've seen any.
I'm getting text messages. It's being reported by Fox News that the police know his name, but they haven't said it yet. So I guess that's preliminary. I believe there's a presser that's about to begin. My brother Nick, who watches the show religiously, he's giving me some information. I'm waiting to see if the press is on now. He said that they confirmed his name, they pushed back to news conference. I'm waiting to hear if it's on now.
All right, let me just keep playing CNN until we get a live news conference.
E,
Sure.
alert people that who he is, and C, trace him to a vehicle, which if he's acting alone, he had to travel by car between these 3 locations to make up the time between the incidents. If he's acting with someone else, that car could be highly relevant. So this is a very dynamic incident. As far as the injuries, that medical center, of course, is not built for that number of casualties to come in a trauma situation. They've been landing helicopters at various locations from the scene, medevac helicopters, and taking, after triaging victims, taking them to medical centers that are further out. So they're really using the maximum of the medical resources available in the state of Maine and New England by adding in the medevac factor. But as you pointed out, job one right now is figuring out who this individual is and where he is and getting him in custody.
Right. And I mean, I'm looking at these numbers, John, from your reporting on what you're learning from law enforcement sources about what's going on here. I mean, Maine is not a very populated, densely populated area. And to see these numbers, 16 people, you are told, are dead in these shootings. I mean, obviously they seem to have some sort of connection. Have your sources said anything about the difference in what these locations are, if there's any kind of through line in them?
No, and you know, you've got one is a bar, one is a bowling alley, another is a distribution center, and that is still something we're trying to confirm and get more information on. But you had victims that also scattered beyond these locations, victims that ran into the woods, people who were found at other locations where they fled to. So they're trying to sort out which victims came from what shooting location still.
And so what kind of response do you believe they're trying to marshal right now, given, I mean, this is a pretty remote area and you're hearing 50 to 60 people. I mean, they're simultaneously dealing with that medical aspect, but also still trying to locate the shooter.
So that's right. And what you've got is the Lewiston Police Department, which is the first responder here, but the Maine State Police is basically bringing in all of its resources. The Maine State Intelligence Fusion Center is calling in all of its people to help backtracking through information and intelligence and whatever else they can do to assist. And you also have the mutual aid from all the other towns and ambulance services being brought to bear here.
So, Phil, obviously things are in flux. We don't know exactly up-to-date information right now, up to time. This is constantly going to be changing, the numbers of people that have been injured, the numbers of people potentially that are dead at this point. We're hearing 22 people that have lost their lives. That could change. That could be incorrect. We don't really know. These situations are always in flux, and usually the fast information is not accurate information.
Yeah, obviously in a fluid situation like this, there's going to be some, miscommunication. There's going to be some erroneous reporting. I think from the information I'm getting, the press is going to be pushed back till 11 p.m. or later. Right now, I guess, listen, you have a mass shooting. You want to respond, administer first aid, transport those injured to the hospital. Obviously, the rest of the location becomes a crime scene for investigators to do their investigation, their crime scene investigation. They're going to try and, from what it sounds like, they have a perp that they believe is identified. So now they're going to try and locate him. They have traffic cameras. There's all different types of video surveillance. They may be looking at some things like that. Obviously, if they know who he is, maybe they could track his cell phone pretty quickly to see his location. And they're going to want to stop the threat, obviously, Billy. There's going to be a time to do investigation where they'll go into his social media account, computers, cell phones, emails, anything of that nature, computers, to try and find out what it was that prompted this individual to do this. And we think there's one individual. There could be multiple shooters because we do have multiple locations. However, they're only putting out the picture of the one individual. They're naming apparently just one individual. However, we can't take a chance to just focus on one person. There could be more than one shooter. Always err on the side of caution in these type of situations. The locations were filled with people. It sounds like John Miller was just talking about how people ran into the woods. So they're going to want to get investigators to talk to those people, try to garner some information, description, maybe anything that was said, or perhaps if anyone recognizes the individual that was doing the shooting. So those are all things that I'm sure that are being done. These mass casualty events, you have a local hospital, perhaps maybe they're not trauma qualified. Again, you're going to need trauma doctors that are going to have to be called in. Other hospitals in the area will probably help. Perhaps some patients could be diverted to those other hospitals. And again, life-saving, techniques will be administered to try and save as many of these people as possible.
Who are at spare time, someone in surgery tonight, of course, many more possibly injured in this shooting. And I want to reset this for you. This is happening in Lewiston, in the area of Spare Time on Mollison Way, as well as at Schmeggy's Bar and Grill, just 4 miles away from that. There are multiple scenes. News Center Maine's Jack Molmid is standing by now. And Jack Molmid, I believe you changed locations. Are you at Central Maine Medical Center now?
I did, Zach. Yes, that's correct. I am in front of Central Maine Medical Center, where it is very much an ongoing scene right now. There are dozens of families standing here waiting to find out more information about what's going on, what happened here tonight. Here in Lewiston, where you guys have been reporting all night that there is an active shooter situation, and law enforcement, Maine State Police, Lewiston Police, different agencies from all over are looking for the suspect. And if you hear anything right now, though, we've heard 2 choppers come in just within the last couple minutes. And over my shoulder here right now, you can see where there is an ambulance set up. There are multiple beds out there. There are law enforcement and medical first responders pouring into this ambulance right now. And like I've been saying earlier, this is still very much an active shooter situation. Families here confused and frustrated and just sad over what's happening right now. I spoke to a woman named Julie. She tells me that her son was at the Schmeggy's bar when she got the call that the shooting happened there. She rushed here to Central Maine Medical Center. I talked to her. She said that she's frustrated, angry. She just wants some information to find out more about her son's condition. And as you can imagine, only imagine, it's just pure frustration here. There are people standing here just waiting to find out more information about really what happened here regarding those multiple injuries that we're hearing about. And since we driven by about an hour ago here at Central Maine Medical Center, there have been dozens upon dozens of people waiting outside. Across the street, there still are about a dozen ambulances there. And I don't know if you can see, but there's an ambulance driving by. So people still pouring in left and right here into Central Maine Medical Center, where it still very much is a shelter-in-place situation here in Lewiston. And if you could hear me, there is a helicopter right now that is landing right now.
Police are asking people in the area to shelter in place, stay inside. If you don't have to go anywhere tonight, do not. Multiple businesses in Lewiston and Auburn shut down. People asked to stay inside. We're going to pull up that picture again. Police are looking for this vehicle, this white car, and this man. This is the shooter that they are looking for, who appeared to walk into Spare Time in Lewiston tonight with a large weapon and open fire on, at this point, dozens of people. We have yet to hear about how many more have been injured. So if you know who this man is, police say they are still looking for him, perhaps even others. If you know who he is, please give police a call. Or if you see that white car there, also on surveillance video with some black paint on the bumper, Lewiston Police ask that you give them a call, reach out on Facebook, email, whatever you have to do to get them the information they need tonight.
Yes, and we know these images are really, really difficult to see, especially in a community here in Maine. But very, very important that you look at this image and let police know if you do recognize that person, or this vehicle. Obviously, some
Phil, it seems like they have the vehicle based on where it is right there. I mean, it appears that they have it. I don't know why
a
they keep
statement from
saying
Senator
that
Angus
they
King tonight,
seen
where
the
he
vehicle.
said he is deeply sad for the city of Lewiston and all those worried about their family, friends, and neighbors. He's receiving regular updates. He awaits further details from authorities and will be headed directly home to Maine once the Senate's final vote is held tomorrow afternoon.
See that car there, Phil? I mean, it appears that's the shooter's car, but it seems like they have the car.
I don't know if when I saw that on the news, they said they were looking for it was that exact picture. They said they were looking for that vehicle, possibly in connection with this. But I'm seeing some other people in the chat saying that the two locations, the bowling alley and the bar, are both on the water, and they believe that the guy may have a boat. I mean, that's just conjecture right here. There's other people asking to call in that they're close by. I believe that's Big Bird.
You know, Phil, just so we recognize that most of the information that you get early on is false information.
Yes, it's usually incorrect.
And
Absolutely.
there's a lot of rumors in the chat, and I don't want to take anything in the chat as gospel, as fact, because I know I've worked situations like this, and so have you, and we know it's an ongoing, it's flux, it's always changing, and information that you think is true 1 minute can change 5 minutes later, and you have different information.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of misinformation. Somebody put in the chat that they're already confirming there's only one person involved. I'm not comfortable with that until I hear it at a presser from law enforcement that they believe it's only one shooter. You know, then I'll be solid with that. I mean, it does appear that way. They're only showing the picture of one person. Somebody just put in the chat that picture of the car is coming from a surveillance camera outside the bowling alley when he entered the bowling alley. So that's possible that vehicle is still being sought in this case. You know, it's just a horrible thing, Billy. We've been through this a million times. Unfortunately, we may be through it again. You know, and I think a lot of it has to do with mental health. A lot of people are saying that in the chat. There's a mental health problem in this country, and unfortunately, there are people that get their hands on these firearms and they go on these rampages. Just horrible. You know, it's a horrible, horrible thing.
He is also asking all Androscoggin County people to allow first responders to address the threat. Again, stay indoors and report suspicious behavior to the local authorities.
And we are also just getting into our newsroom a statement from Congressman Jared Golden, who, of course, is from Lewiston. He represents that district, District 2. His statement reading, "Like all Mainers, I'm horrified by the events in Lewiston tonight. This is my hometown. Right now, all of us are looking to local law enforcement as they gain control of the situation and gather information. Our hearts break for those who are affected, and we encourage everyone to follow the directions of the authorities as they conduct their work." Again, that's Congressman Jared Golden there.
We have just confirmed that 22 people, at least 22 people, have been killed in this shooting. We know there was an active scene at Spare Time Recreation on Mollison Way and one at Schmenge's Bar and Grill on Lincoln Street, about 4 miles away from that. I mean, 22 people killed. It's just a shocking number to hear, and a number of other people have been injured.
Yeah, we can't even begin to make sense of that number right now. And of course, we still don't know if there are more people.
Bill, could you hold it there for a
injured,
second on that map, if you could? I wanted to point something out on that map, because some people are reporting in the chat.
Hospitals is, but as you heard,
fun size picked up on a scanner.
We have just confirmed.
Who, of course, is.
Yeah, right there, right. It doesn't want to
people injured. And of
all right,
course,
right there, freeze it right there. Now, Fun Size is saying they believe he took a boat, as they did find the car. She said she got that off of a police scanner. And if you look at the location, it just to the left of each one of those locations, it does look like there is a body of water right next to those locations. So perhaps it's possible these locations are on the water. Perhaps a boat was utilized for the perpetrators, you know, to get there and escape. Let's see. Yeah, she did say it came over a news source, and then she said it came over on a scanner. So I guess unconfirmed by law enforcement, but people in the chat are saying that from that map there, it does look like these both locations are near some type of body of water.
the crowd of people out there outside of Central Maine Medical Center just waiting for something, waiting to hear word from anyone about their loved one, whether they were injured, whether they were one of the 20.
All right, we don't really need to hear their conjecturing.
Yeah.
These situations, again, the information you get from different news sources, from different locations, it's changing by the minute. And they don't, trust me, I've investigated things like this. Everything is not accurate till hours, sometimes 24 hours later, as they are able to sit down and sort through all their information, all their investigative information. We don't know where this guy is now, where he took off. Do the police have more information than us? Absolutely. Are they releasing it right now? No. They're doing their job. They're trying to capture this guy. Responding and reporting it to the news is probably 10 on their level of what's important. And letting the news know what occurred is not that important to them. But finding this perpetrator, I think they've probably identified him. They probably know who he is. So people sheltering place. Now the hunt is on to find this guy, the who, the where, the how, the why, and the when. And we can all put that together tomorrow.
Billy, I just want to give a shout out to Mike Colon from MC's Audio. He's in the chat. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Bill, you and I have been responders in uniform with running gun battles and different things of that nature. And in the early part of of when the whole incident goes down, things are very fluid. A lot of misinformation flies, and it does take some time to sort it out. In this type of a situation where we have two different locations, a man with a long gun firing multiple shots. We know that it's being reported that 22 people have been killed and up to 60 people injured. This is a mass casualty event. So I am certain that there are going to be a lot of different things being reported that are inaccurate. Let's just hope and pray that the number goes down on the dead and injured. I don't want it to go up. But unfortunately, in these cases, a lot of times the early numbers do tend to go up. This does sound like a person who had a long rifle and set upon innocent people. I guess we're going to have to wait and see how this goes. And Bill, how many times have we responded to things and the initial information you get is wrong,
Many times it's wrong. That's why I don't go with anything that's being said right now. I mean, right now we have 3 different locations, a bowling alley, a bar, and a distribution center. I think that's somewhat accurate. We don't know the amount of people that were shot and killed at each location. We're hearing 50 to 60 people injured besides the 22 killed. We don't know if that's confirmed at this point. There could be more, there could be less. So as I said, all of the information is subject to change, and we're going to stay with the news and hear what they report.
At this hour, the shooter is still at large, and people are being told to shelter in place. In the last 20 minutes, we learned President Biden has been briefed on all this. Let's bring in WRAL's Mark Boyle in the live center. A lot of fast-moving developments here, Mark.
The numbers are going to change in this story, Lena. Right now, NBC News has confirmed 22 people dead. The Associated Press says 10. We're waiting for a briefing from the state police there in Maine. That is imminent within the next few minutes. That's where we're expecting to get the most concrete information. This is the photograph right here. The sheriff's department there in the area near Lewiston released of the suspected gunman. You see this gun right here in his hands walking into the bowling alley. If you haven't been following this within the past 60 to 90 minutes, there are a couple of different scenes here. There's a bowling alley, and then about 4 miles away, there is a bar. We're going to show you some additional video here of the scene, and we also saw people running. Take a look here. So that shelter in place was triggered for different communities, including Lewiston, and a lot of folks got those alerts on their cell phones and then just started running. Heard witness reports of people out walking their dogs, getting those alerts, and then darting for the closest nearby home to get inside and out of the way, because this gunman is still on the run tonight. On this map here in the live center, I do want to show you the proximity here because police have quite the scene. So you have this recreation area. This is the bowling alley, and then down here, this is a bar. So there's two different scenes. We mapped it out for you. It's about 4.5 miles apart, straight through the town of Lewiston. That entire community there in Maine, essentially on lockdown tonight. They're getting this photograph out of the gunman. They have different scenes they're working with. And this is also new right here at 10 o'clock. They want folks in the area to take a look at this white SUV. They say it has a black bumper, could be the suspect's car. A very active situation. A lot of people still on edge tonight as they're trying to track down the person responsible. In terms of injuries, 40 to 50 people hurt, we're hearing, in addition to a large number killed. Back to you.
At this hour, that image of the suspected shooter plastered everywhere. So they are looking for the shooter. Just about 37,000 people who live in that community. So they're hopeful that.
Phil, is that weapon an AR-15?
It appears to be that type of a rifle, an AR type rifle. Couple of things, Billy. I'm reading on the internet. 40-year-old Robert Card has been identified. This is the Sun Journal, as being the suspect in the mass shooting. He owns the 2013 Subaru Outback. It's given date of birth. I'm not going to go through that. They're saying he may have been in the military. I mean, again, this is all preliminary. It's not been put out by the police or by law enforcement or any officials. It's not confirmed, obviously, but they're talking about a 40-year-old male that owns a white Subaru 2013. And there was also somebody in the chat said the vehicle was found at a boat launch. And then there was something else in there. Let's see. Somebody asked you to check your email, Bill. I don't know if you can. I believe it was Dawn Marie. Yeah. So listen, if it's an AR, that's a very powerful round that it fires, very accurate. It'll go through most bulletproof vests. I think only very, very hard, very, very heavy military vests may stop an AR, but I don't even think those do.
Yeah,
So,
Phil, I got some information from Dawn Marie, who I trust.
okay.
Breaking from CBS News, Maine law enforcement, Maine State Police attempting to locate Robert Card as a person of interest regarding a mass shooting incident at Shemegi's Bar and Grill Restaurant and the Spare Time Recreation in Lewiston. Card is a trained firearms instructor believed to be in the Army Reserve stationed out of Saco, Maine. According to law enforcement, Card recently reported mental health issues, including hearing voices and threats to shoot up the National Guard base in Saco. He was also reported to have been committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks in the summer of 2023. Last known to be operating a white Subaru Outback with a black bumper with Maine plates. Very disturbing. Dawn Marie, thank you so much for that update. That was very much appreciated.
Bill, if that in fact is true, you're dealing with someone who is a trained marksman, military training, obviously mental health issue, as I brought up before, if that in fact is correct. So it's going to be a tough go for the law enforcement officers that are going to close in on a guy like this. He's going to be able to shoot at a great distance probably and be very accurate. Very, very, very concerning and very scary thought to hear if that is the case.
Obviously, this was planned because he's wearing the attire necessary to carry a lot of extra magazines. He's, you can see those pants. They're probably loaded with additional magazines. As we know already, 22 people, not confirmed, but we were told 22 people are dead and over 50 to 60 people injured.
Awful fast under the police orders. When they see a man like that, they're going to activate all their SWAT teams, the Lewiston Maine Police SWAT, Maine State Police SWAT. If the sheriff has SWAT, even federal agencies, they're all going to be activated to try to find them. The key thing right away, of course, is you got to help the injured, the wounded, respond to those scenes. But you got to locate the guy, because if we have 3 scenes, and is there more than one shooter? These are all unknowns. But so you have to locate, isolate, and then eliminate the threat. And the biggest task is finding him. If it is one and he's moving between scenes, that's a very, very, rapid moving situation for the police, because he can get in a car and drive a few blocks away and kill again. If it's multiple shooters, it's even worse. So Lewiston, Maine's on lockdown. They need to stay on lockdown until this man or men or people are caught.
Yeah, and Jim, we understand at this hour that as of this moment, the governor of Maine has been briefed, and we will bring.
Well, I'm getting
whatever,
some
she has to say
breaking
about the
information from my
situation.
phone from my brother. If you want to pause for a second, my brother's he's got Fox News on. They've reported police state Robert Card is the person they're looking for in this shooting. Male, white, 40 years old. They're talking about only 2 locations. The Walmart is not being. They're pushing back a little on the Walmart. It's just the bowling alley and the pool hall. Multiple confirmed dead at both locations and up to 50 to 60 injury. But the police have confirmed that Robert Card is a person of interest that they're looking for in this case. That's being reported on Fox News as we speak.
But as we think about, as you say, the possibility that this might be more than one person and that he might be moving between these locations, what is available to police for actually trying to track him down? Do you have, in theory, something like license plate readers or closed circuit footage that might give them some idea of where he is before he can do further damage?
You do have those things, Jake, all those tools, video, license plate readers. The patrol officers on the street that are responding in mass is a big resource. But the biggest resource is always the public, because the public is everywhere. They have their cell phones. When the alerts go out, if this guy's spotted with a rifle, if the gunshots are heard, and they're calling in and the police are out in mass, they can deploy to the last reported sighting or shooting quickly and hopefully engage him and stop him. So the biggest thing that you can leverage on your side is the public, and put those alerts out, leverage the public to call 911. If you see the man, see or hear the shots, anything like that, so the police can get to him, locate him, isolate him, and eliminate the threat.
And as I understand it, Lewiston is
Phil, one of the things from an investigative standpoint, just for our audience, they already know every single possible thing they could have on Robert Card, where he lives, every address known to him that he's used now or in the past, any vehicle he's owned, firearms he owns, work locations, relatives in the area, relatives outside the area. All these things are very important. Residences, of course, of the fact that we've been reading in the chat and that he was recently had some mental health issues. They're going to have every single report, every single thing on this guy that they can possibly have. And the investigators are working double time right now to figure out all this stuff.
Absolutely, Billy. As we said earlier, they'll be doing deep dives into his personal computer, his personal social media, his cell phone activity, where he works, his family, his friends. That's all probably happening very liquid. One other thing that I didn't say, I got information from my brother that they believe he had a police scanner. So that's another interesting aspect of this whole case. Perhaps he's monitoring the police response on these things. So police are going to have to really move very cautiously. We're talking about someone who's a trained killer from the military. From what they're saying, he's a firearms instructor. So he's no stranger to a rifle. He probably has deadly aim. And these officers are going to have to really be careful, take a lot of care when they do engage the suspect. If they are close to getting him, prayers to those officers that no one else gets hurt. Let's just keep a good thought for those guys, those people that may be closing in on him. This is a very fluid situation. A lot of information's coming in as we're broadcasting. Again, unconfirmed. His car was located at a boat launch. We talked about that a little bit earlier. 2 of the locations seem to be near a body of water, so that kind of would make sense.
the second largest city in Maine, but still a pretty small town, only a little more than 30,000 people, is a police force in a city that large equipped to handle someone with a long gun intent on doing damage? What do you think it is like for a law enforcement agency the size of one attached to Lewiston to handle something like this?
Well, we don't know the scope of the assailants here, but if it's one man with a rifle, Lewiston PD would be able to deal with it for sure. All patrol officers, even in the smaller communities, carry long guns in the trunks of their cars now, patrol rifles, we call them. They're trained on them. They know how to use them. When they get a call for an active shooter, they're going to get to their trunk, put on their body armor, get their tactical rifle, and they'll be able to deal with the guy. Now, if it's a case with multiple shooters or many multiple shooters, any department can be challenged by that. But you're also going to have layered on, sheriff's deputies and Maine state troopers. So they have the law enforcement resources to handle it. The key always is, can you get to him before he kills again or kills more? I think the dire thing we're looking at here is the 3 scenes. It's either one guy traveling or it's multiple shooters, and either one of those is not a good scenario for law enforcement.
Well, Jim Cavanaugh, thank you so much for being with us. So again, just to reiterate for our viewers, in Lewiston, Maine, the second largest city of Maine, it's about halfway between Portland and the capital city of Maine. We have an active shooter possibly moving among 3 possible locations. The governor has been informed, and we have we will bring you whatever details we can. We do not at this hour have an exact report of how many people have been affected, but we know there have been more than one victim. This is a mass shooting, an active shooter situation, and we will bring you whatever details we can. I understand we may have Frank Figliucci on the line with us now to talk about. So, Jim, let me actually, we don't have Frank yet. I apologize. Let me bring you back, Jim, just to find out a little bit more about the procedure at this point. I mean, it is. I just think you would know more than almost anybody just what a singular American tragedy this is. This is such a unique law enforcement responsibility here in this country. Talk for us for a moment just about what it is to respond to something like this as regularly as law enforcement officers who entered the job, presumably to deal with law and order, on a small town level. The fact that they have to respond to something like this. Tell us a little bit about what that is like for officers on the ground.
Well, even calls for man with a gun or a shooting call are always challenging calls for police, but they're trained in it. They're trained for it. They're trained for active shooter.
Billy,
They
can I
run
interrupt
active
1
shooter
second?
drills
Bill?
all the time. And so
The previous station that you had on is showing a picture of Robert Card. It's Channel 4 News Center, Maine. If you could try and find that, they're showing a picture, and the picture does resemble the picture of the person from the bowling alley, a person with facial hair, a male white. I believe it's NBC. Yeah, News Center, Maine. Look for News Center, Maine. It's called. They're showing a picture. Let me see if I could find it. We'll see the face of evil, obviously. Okay.
That's Phil. We had them on before.
Yeah, I'm watching it on another station, and they just showed a picture of the perpetrator. If you could maybe go back to that.
Lewiston Police are asking you to call them. Again, they are also looking for a car.
That's it.
That is, we can't tell, it's either white or silver with a black bumper. We do have an image of it. There it is, right there on your screen. Police are looking for that vehicle as well. So again, if you know anything about this, and that vehicle has a black front bumper.
Yeah, I believe Jack Molmid moved to a new location. He was outside of Spare Time earlier, and if he can hear us, he's talking.
Bill, when I Googled it, it was in the
He's
first
in
and second one are showing the
right
picture.
outside of Central Maine Medical Center.
News Center,
The
Maine.
emergency department that he's at. So we'll let him, he's in the middle of an interview right now. We'll let him finish that up, and then we'll.
A number of our officials of 22 people. Kind of a shock to, wow, okay, this is here. This is happening.
Well, I think you get a pretty good idea what the guy looks like from this photo.
Yeah,
and I
that
think
actually is a pretty good photo.
There's
If
lots
you-
of people that know this guy from the area. He's a firearms instructor. He's no stranger. So I think that, they get a pretty good idea what he looks like.
Sympathy and kind of a drive to, we need to find out what's happening, with an underlying message right now for everyone to stay safe. Make sure you are in a safe place. Again, as Lee was telling us a moment ago, the shelter in place was for Lewiston and Auburn. That has now been expanded county-wide for Androscoggin County tonight.
Bill, I
and
have it
that
on the
is
screen of
message
my
on your
computer.
screen
You
right
want me to
now.
try and
No,
put
no,
it
it's all right.
Person
This is
they
good
are
enough.
looking for tonight.
Okay.
We do anticipate, again, hearing from the Department of Public Safety tonight. We have a crew live at City Hall in Lewiston, where we are told that briefing will likely take place. We are awaiting word from them, of course, as our crews continue working to learn more about what's happening on the ground. But that number is tough to watch on the bottom of your screen right now.
Yeah, it's just, when you're turning on the television, if you haven't been with us for the past couple of hours, if you're just getting home, if your phone's been blowing up and you don't know why, and you put on the TV and you see, what? 22 people senselessly losing their lives tonight, and that's 22 people that we know about. And certainly the instant fear is that number might go up once there's time to kind of pay more attention to that and less attention to trying to find this person. And when I say person, I mean, we've been told so far by law enforcement, officially confirmed, that there is at least one person they're looking for. To be fair, that doesn't mean there's only one. They've just told us about one. So we keep our ears open to everything that we're hearing from law enforcement. Again, Maine State Police standing by to talk at any minute now, and whenever they're ready to do that, we'll certainly bring that to you so we can hear what they have to say officially. But just a chaotic scene in Lewiston, in Auburn, Sabatis, Lisbon, and all the surrounding towns, the entire county on lockdown, as it should be. There's no reason for anybody to go anywhere right now until this is resolved, and that just can't happen quickly enough to get that resolved and at least give some peace to the people who are sitting here watching this material. Attempting to locate Robert Card, the person of interest regarding a mass shooting incident at Schmeggy's Bar.
There it is.
Bar and Grill and the Spare Time Recreation in Lewiston. Card is a trained firearms instructor believed to be in the Army Reserve stationed out of Saco. According to law enforcement, Card recently reported mental health issues, including hearing voices and threats to shoot up the National Guard base in Saco. He was also reported to have been committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks in the summer of 2023. He's last known to be operating a white Subaru Outback with that black bumper with Maine license plates. Again, Robert Card, this is from Maine law enforcement, is who they're looking for. The picture right there on your screen, the same person who's been in the video that we've been showing you tonight with the same car that we've been showing you as well. And obviously, based on the information that was just given to us, certainly a very dangerous person. I think we've seen that tonight, and his background seems to warrant that as well. And this is the person that they're looking for. That's the car they're looking for. And again, his name officially identified by law enforcement as Robert Card, who is a Army Reserve stationed out of Saco. Yeah, we're gonna read the whole thing again, just so you guys can get that. Okay.
I would not read that one. I would go down.
Yep.
I'm gonna send it directly to the bottom of this.
Okay.
So again, we just got information in moments ago. We were just chatting with Chris Costa, our colleague. We just got information moments ago about the specific suspect police say they are looking for. His photo is on your screen right now. Robert Card is his name. This is who this is focused around tonight. We've been looking at the photo of the car. They believe he was driving tonight, that white Subaru Outback with a black bumper. And now they are sharing this photo, again, from state police tonight, or from law enforcement tonight, about the person they are looking for at this hour.
So that's the one. If you go back to your teams.
Working to pull up that information again, the specific details police described.
Yep. So.
All right, Phil, they're just really going over the same stuff over and over again. One of the things is that, it's the old expression you hear all the time came from 9/11. If you see something, say something.
Bill, I'm getting a message from my brother that's watching this on cable news. They're saying cops are swarming the hospital and people were told to duck. They believe he could be at the hospital. Cops are swarming the hospital and people were told to duck. He may be at the hospital. So again,
Well,
this
that
is
sounds
very-
like bad information. I mean, I think you can't keep reporting things that's not confirmed.
well,
because-
that's being reported on cable news.
Yeah, but that could not be. I don't see how that's confirmed. We got to wait till it's confirmed because this stuff gets crazy. The information goes,
Yeah, and in the chat they were saying that the media is clearing they were saying police are clearing media from the hospital. So there's something going on. There may just be a crowd control condition. I just saw something in the chat about it. Yeah, you're right. Things are very fluid. You have to be careful about what you report. But oh boy.
Yeah, no, I mean, this thing, when something like this happens, there are so many rumors, there's so much information, and you really have to step back and wait because I'd say 60 to 70% information is false, and that's why you got to be very careful about let me see something. They get live information, perhaps.
Phoebe Beach is saying, yep, on Fox now, saying at hospital. So there's people in the chat even saying they must be watching the same thing. But again, unconfirmed.
Let me put CNN on here.
Yeah, they're saying lots of activity at Lewiston Hospital.
Who they're looking for tonight appears to be carrying a AR style rifle, and to consolidate our number. AP now reporting 16 people dead, confirming the number that CNN's been reporting as well, and that there are multiple people beyond that who are injured. And in fact, the word that we're hearing is dozens people injured based on law enforcement sources. I want to cite CNN on this. CNN reporting based on a law enforcement source that dozens of people are injured tonight.
And we've seen a huge presence at the hospital. Johnny Maffey's been there for well over an hour. A huge security presence. Also, rows of ambulances lined up at the ready. Central Maine Medical Center told us earlier they were responding to a mass casualty incident. Again, dozens injured is the word we're getting. 16 dead tonight. Just, it's hard to put into words. We see these mass shootings in other places, obviously. It's heartbreaking.
Tonight.
It's really tragic, and it's hard to process. I know for people in the community. Anna Kuhn talked to someone earlier who just walked down to the hospital, kind of unsure what else to do, just wanting to give their thoughts and prayers to everybody tonight. So take a listen.
I've lived here since 2012, and this is my stomping grounds. I've been stomping these grounds since I was 19 years old. And I'm just overwhelmed. I've been here trying to spread, some kind of comfort, some kind of support. But this is an overwhelming situation. I don't think we've ever had anything like this, except that one that
they're in the hospital praying for people and administering care, faith care to families who are there. And there are so many families tonight who are obviously in anguish right now, trying to get information about their loved ones. I can also add one other thing to something that woman said earlier tonight, was that there was a lot of families that were gathered outside of one of the doors for a period of time tonight. Our understanding from our Johnny Maffey live on scene is that they've now moved those family members to a different location. We don't know exactly where, but they've been moved to another location where they can be briefed and get information. That's at least what we've been hearing and what we understand about those families who are desperate for information, who've been gathering at Central Maine Medical Center tonight.
And if you're just joining us,
Phil, I'm hearing there's, I'm going to look for it right now, that there's potentially a live press conference.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it.
I'm looking for a couple of things myself. They're saying there's something going on at the hospital.
As well. So Jack does join us now. 22 people. That
Press conference on Fox News Live right now.
Basically describing what was happening in the moment, that some of this was unfolding in Lewiston tonight. Really just, you can hear in her voice that this was not a normal phone call, as she was describing what was unfolding in her world. So we do want to hear part of that conversation.
Let me see if I can get.
Here we go.
I'm not getting the. There we go.
Public safety standpoint, that we have a unified front.
Okay, you got it. Good.
As we release it, the delay in coming here with. He is a person of interest, however, and that's what we'll label him at moving forward. And that's what we'll label him.
So basically, it sounds like they located the vehicle. That's the last thing that law enforcement officer said. I don't know who he is. Just trying to catch up on this. It's very fluid, the situation at this point. I think the latest on the presser is they're identifying him as Robert Card, male, white, 40 years old, military trained. Actual firearms instructor, and there you have it. That's the latest from the press conference. I'm trying to pull it up on my side. Bill, are you still on? Are you still with me? They may have lost Bill. Okay, let's see if we can find this presser. Lewiston, Maine. Okay. Live Maine Police find active shooter. Oh, we got that already. Okay, we have the press conference on. Let me get some volume. Bill, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Basically, they're going with the same thing. 22 dead, 50 injured. Be on the lookout. Don't approach him if you see him. Oh, there it is.
I got
We're
it.
going to close City Hall after this briefing and probably move everybody out. But again, we appreciate your partnership and your patience. I would offer to take questions just so you know that I probably won't have answers. And as long as you know that going in, there's no disrespect intended in that. Feel free to ask a couple. And if I think we can get there, then I'm happy to answer those. If not, we do have work to do on behalf of our communities, and that's our primary focus this evening.
There are casualties are out there. The Sheriff Sampson told me up as many as 20.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. And I know that there's been a lot of numbers out there. This is a very fluid situation. So the last thing I want to come up is give you a number and then 3 hours from now, change that in one direction or another. So I don't have firm numbers on that. And when I do, we'll be happy to share those with you because it's an important piece of healing and it's an important piece of information for all of us to be aware of. But I don't have a firm number on that.
But at least 15.
I think I just answered that question to say that I'm not going to give you any specific numbers. And there's been a lot of numbers all over the map all evening. And I don't think that that's helpful because it doesn't help family members. It certainly doesn't help the community to see, well, they just said this and they said that. So if you want accurate information, I'm prepared to give that to you when I have it. I don't have that right now.
Did the suspect have any notes of this pre-law enforcement? Someone who's been on the radar of state police or local police at all?
Well, Mr. Card, who we're speaking about right now, is a person of interest and a person of interest only, right? I'm not listing him as a suspect at this point, and we're not prepared to go into his background or anything else that we may be aware of. One more question? We're looking for this person of interest right now, and that's what we'll label and list and speak about at this particular moment. When we have additional information, I'm happy to share that. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Again, thank you for your time. And I know Assistant City Manager O'Malley will make arrangements, I think, to move everybody out of the building. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. These are the flyers that we were mentioning, so feel free to grab those, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Well, Phil, I don't think they want to give out information that's inaccurate. So
Yes.
he's holding off. Like, as I said, this stuff is always in flux. And I apologize. We had a little technical difficulties there. People are sending me messages from all over the place, different screens. And I tried to get to one. I couldn't get to it. I'm just going to stay with what I do well and just stay with that and not be distracted by other people sending me shit. But
Well, listen, it's a fluid situation. We're trying to do the best we could do, and obviously, it gets a little confusing. And just trying to get on the air was a bit of a task, but I'm glad we did. And this whole situation is still very fluid. I don't think that there's a clear number of victims. You saw it right there in the press conference. He didn't want to commit to any numbers because, again, down the line, those numbers could change, and they usually do. So I thought that was very smart on his part. He didn't take a lot of questions because at this point, I don't think he can give a lot of answers. It's all so fresh. It's probably we're talking about multiple crime scenes here, multiple injured, up to 60 people. They're talking in the 20s with people dead. And let's face it, we need to try and they have to focus on the manhunt to try and capture this animal before he hurts anybody else. And obviously, people that have been brought to the hospitals with traumatic injuries, hopefully there's enough blood, there's enough trauma surgeons to handle all the injured and save lives. So again, it's very fluid. It's a very, very distressing situation, but I'm sure that the law enforcement's doing the best they can do. And I'm glad that they did some type of a press conference.
Yeah, well, it wasn't, I think it serves to let everyone know that the information right now is always inaccurate because everything's in flux right now. The information is changing. If you listen to too many people, there's a blimp accident, there's this, there's that. The thing at the hospital was totally not true, so you got to just take it with a grain of salt and realize that so many people are trying to get the information out there that it becomes like playing that game telephone. Well, that's pretty repetitive from what we saw before.
Yeah.
I think it's the same story. But basically, the shooter is at large. He's still unapprehended. Law enforcement is doing everything they possibly can. Apparently he's been identified. They wouldn't commit to that on the press conference, but I think law enforcement is pretty confident that he's identified. They put his name out there.
He called him a person of interest, and he said he wasn't ready to call him a suspect. And I appreciate that, and I respect that. It's so fluid, and but they are putting his name out there. I think that tells us that he obviously. They did say in the beginning of the presser, if you see him or know him, do not approach him. Again, they feel he's probably the one, and he's probably very dangerous. So again, not calling him a suspect, calling him a person of interest. If he's spotted, let the police handle it. Call 911. Don't try to engage, obviously. And I think just to review, we know there's at least 2 locations. We're talking about the bowling alley and a local bar. The Walmart, it doesn't seem to be surfacing at this point that there was any kind of activity there. The Walmart distribution center, however, that was brought up in the early stages of the reporting. So again, 50 to 60 injured, possibly 22 dead at originally they said 3 location, appears to be 2. Robert Card named as a suspect. We saw the picture of him, male white, about 40 years old. So again, that's where we are.
Situation in Lewiston, I urge all people in the area to follow the direction of state and local enforcement. Going on to say, I will continue to monitor the situation and remain in close contact with public safety officials. Senator King saying he is deeply sad for the city of Lewiston and all those worried about their family, friends, and neighbors. He is receiving regular updates and awaits further information. And will be headed directly home to Maine once the Senate's final vote is held tomorrow afternoon. Given the shelter in place currently underway, he asked all in Androscoggin County to allow first responders to address the threat, stay indoors, and report any suspicious behavior to the local authorities. Again, that's Senator Angus King there sharing that statement tonight.
And of course, the local authorities agreeing with that sentiment. Lewiston Police, we're hearing from State Police, we're hearing from Androscoggin County, all saying, please stay off the roads.
At a crowded bowling alley. NBC News reporting from Lewiston Police that 22 people have been killed in Lewiston tonight, and multiple scenes are under investigation right now.
Yeah, and obviously an active situation. And if you've been with us, you see we've got people literally gathering information real time as we are all in a full working newsroom right now, gathering information in real time as you at home are working real time. And, you know, this is one of the curses and blessings of social media and the internet is that everybody seemingly has information. It's our job to decipher what's real and what's not, and then pass that along to you. So, you know, we're learning on the fly here with you guys and just trying to keep you updated on what's going on. Obviously, the one thing that is clear is this is a tragic day for our state. There's no way around that. This is going to go down in history and not the way that we want it to. Brian, is the two of us who are from this state, this is hard to do. This is our job to pass along information to keep people safe and let them know what's going on as we learn about it. At the same time, these are our state mates, if you will, and these are the people are hurting tonight, and people are going to hurt for a long time to come. And the more we learn, the harder it is.
And if we can keep these images on your screen, let us just describe what you're looking at. These are photos from Lewiston Police, Androscoggin County Sheriff's Office. This is the vehicle they believe they are looking for tonight. So take note of these images right now. These are images taken, again, police sharing these from inside Spare Time Recreation, which is in Lewiston. It's a long-standing business there. Bowling league underway tonight. From what we understand, and certainly a crowd of people there tonight as well.
Yeah, and they are sharing these images so that people are aware of what they're looking for. At the same time, they're really telling people to not look for this person. They're telling people to stay where you are, stay inside. There were parent-teacher conferences going on tonight. Imagine being a parent at a school with your child and hearing that you're locked in. So this is a scary situation for everybody in Androscoggin County and for the whole state. Eyes are all over this. We've heard from Senator King. We've heard from Congressman Golden. Brian, I know you were just saying we've heard that the White House has been briefed on this, and so they're keeping eyes on this. This is obviously a very big deal.
Yeah, and the big message tonight at this moment right now is this person is not in custody. There is an active search for this shooter. Lewiston.
You know, Phil, one of the things that we know from our work in law enforcement is that many active shooters kill themselves after they've done this horrific deed. So that has to be realized also, just because law enforcement is searching for this guy. And that's one of the reasons the investigators are all over this, searching any place that he's ever lived, any locations that mean anything to him, family members, work locations, any places that he may visit, because that's where the search will go on for him. If they have a cell phone number on him, of course, they get right up on the cell phone to track the GPS. Again, we spoke about the investigation, any vehicles he possibly owns, everything about him they should know about right now.
You know, Billy, a lot of information is being put out about him, that he had some issues with mental health. So apparently they may have already spoken to either a family member, a loved one, or a friend, or someone that knows him. Perhaps, you know, like you said, they have his cell phone. Maybe there's a negotiation going on as we speak. We don't know. You know, a lot of times these mass shooters will take their own life when police close in. Let's see how this thing plays out. But with the amount of information that they put out so far, it sounds like they have a good handle on it. They're right there on the screen. They're showing his picture. They talked about his military background, firearms instructor, mental illness recently committed over the summer, hearing voices. So they didn't pull that out of thin air. They got that from someone. They got it from somewhere. It sounds like they're doing their due diligence, obviously, to try and track down this individual and take him into custody.
You know, you're seeing on the screen, NBC is saying that 22 people have been killed. They were unwilling to verify that number early on. Let's hope it's not true. Let's hope it's much less than that. But that number has been put out there probably for the last hour or so. And we don't know how many people are injured besides this 22 people killed. But there's no way to say
confirm it.
to confirm this that he's this is a horrific incident.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
just before we went on the air, they were reporting 16 dead and numerous injured. And then just before we went on, they went to 22. That seems pretty firm in the reporting that's gone on since we've been on the air. So again, let's hope and pray that it's less. Obviously, Billy, we don't want one is too many, but it does look like a mass casualty incident. So, and let's hope and pray for the people that were injured that they make a full recovery. I'm sure that the trauma centers are really being pressed with the amount of injured that they're dealing with tonight.
Road, and now that road is completely blocked off. There is, I don't know, probably 15 police vehicles in total over there, but within like a 5-minute stretch, it really seemed like police were gearing up, loading weapons and putting them on, and then all of their lights went off. That's the only thing we observed before we were instructed to leave. Now, we have been here at Lisbon High School for a few minutes since, and we can't see anything that is happening, but we were told that it is unsafe to be where we were, and so of course we did leave, and we'll continue to keep you updated. For those who missed us last time, we're in Lisbon Falls here, and when we arrived, there was a chopper that's circling. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's still up there. We're going to try to see if we can capture it here for you. It has been circling now for...
Bill, could I make a quick comment?
I don't know,
Maybe you could
upwards
pause that
of
for a
near an hour.
second. What she described sounds like a unit that's trying to tack up and be maybe on standby in case they're needed to respond to a location. They picked it. It looked like a high school there in the background. They go there, they tack up. Showing it on the news is obviously not a good thing if the perpetrator is monitoring police radios as well as the social media. So again, that's probably why they asked those news crews to move back. That's what it sounds like to me, a possible group of maybe ESU personnel tacking up on standby, ready to respond if the location of the suspect is deciphered and they need to respond to that location.
Hour with a spotlight pointing down. So it's definitely, as we've been mentioning this whole time, very active scene here. Androscoggin River is where that boat launch was, we told you, at the end of Frost Hill Ave. The area we're in right now is Lisbon Falls, as I mentioned, but it's the Route 196 junction. It connects a lot of major roads. Lisbon Street, as I think Brian mentioned earlier, it's a major throughway, which is shut down right now, right up at that mobile station. And then the other road is Ridge Road, which is what Frost Hill Ave is off of. So all of these roads are blocked. Every vehicle that's going through, whether it's residents or people just traveling through, are being stopped by police officers asking where they're going. There's lights being shown in cars, and police are just very, very heavily monitoring this area. What that means remains to be seen. But as we've been mentioning this entire time, it's horrible, devastating what's happening to us. It's not normal. But what is really impressive and reassuring is the response that we've seen throughout the state of Maine to make sure that we're safe. And so I think, as Amanda said earlier, if you are at home, stay at home, lock your doors, be as safe as you can be in the confines of your home. And we'll continue to keep you updated from here. But for now, Zach, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
Yeah, Hannah Kumler there. We want to kind of give perspective about how far she is from the original scene. We're talking about 10 miles, about a 20-minute drive from Lewiston Center. And if Hannah Kumler's still with us, we'd love to talk to her some more about what she's seeing there. Hannah, when you first got there, I think you were pushed back from the scene. Have you been pushed back even further?
No, so originally when we got here, we attempted, Sam Rogers is here with me, to drive down to the boat launch. And there was some police set up down there who instructed us to come back up towards the end of the road. So we went down Frost Hill Ave and we had to come back up to this junction area. We were up kind of staged when I first talked to you guys up by that gas station. And we've just been instructed to leave. And it was kind of like, we were told, do with the information what you will, but it is not safe. And so we have crossed the street down the road a little bit to Lisbon High, and that's where we're situated for now until we hear anything else.
Hannah, you mentioned Lisbon Street, major throughway, that's closed off right now. We're seeing some cars move behind you. Are cars being let through now, or is this mostly just police presence?
So this is just useless information right now. They're
Yeah.
just busy time on the air.
It's a lot of repeating what we already know too.
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been anything that's really the search for this guy. We haven't heard anything. Do they know where he fled to? Uh, do they in fact have the car? Right now, it's all it's investigation is what they're doing right now, and investigation takes time. And I mean, if we just listen to the news reporters talking about cars passing by, it doesn't really help what we're
No.
trying to get out to our listeners right now.
Our listeners will probably be interested in hearing what we think would be going on behind the scenes right now. Obviously, you just laid out some of it. A deep dive into this guy. They know who he is. They know his name. They know a lot about him. That he's suffering some mental illness recently. So again, they're going to be using technology to maybe track his phone. They'll probably try to get into his computer as soon as possible, see any type of things that he was searching, to see locations that he may be going to. Again, talking to friends, relatives, trying to get an idea of where he is, where he would go, what does he frequent, what type of weaponry he has, all of those types of things. And perhaps maybe there was a manifesto left behind at his home. If there's something like that, they'll want to go through that very carefully. And, they have to play it really safe. This is a person that was in the military. There could be booby traps. There could be ordnance. There's a lot of different things that they have to really take into account. And again, Bill, I think you really hit it on the head. Those are the steps that are probably taking place right now. Let's find out who he is. Let's find where he's at. Let's try and, end this thing without any more bloodshed, obviously. But he needs to be located and he needs to be addressed. And that's probably what's going on at this point.
Yeah, Phil, I mean, this is going probably to go through the night. They know who he is. Now the hunt is on. They
Yes.
need to hunt for this guy. They need to interview all his family members to find out places, locations. Obviously, his state of mind was one of, it seems, of deep mental duress. You don't go into two locations and shoot up and kill lots of people unless you have serious mental health issues. What other weapons does he have? Is there any other locations where he keeps his weapons? Do you have any locations, summer homes, vacation homes? That's some of the locations he could be fleeing to. Friends, acquaintances, all of these things are potential locations that he could flee to. And that's what law enforcement is going to be interested in right now. But at the same time, Lewiston, Maine needs to shelter in place, lock down. This guy obviously has killed and will kill again.
Absolutely, Billy. I would also be interested in his social status at this point. Is he married? Does he have children? Does he have a wife? Is he estranged from them? If he does have close relatives, those people, in my mind, would be under heavy police protection. Perhaps he killed all these people and he wants to take out family members now and then kill himself. So again, it does look like the direction of this whole investigation and this whole incident has some good law enforcement, behind it. They did show that that unit was tacking up. She described what to me was, getting ready to maybe do a hit at a location if need be. If they're called to a location, they do have some information or a location where they think this individual could be. They would enlist that SWAT team to go there and try and locate the individual. So again, it sounds like whoever is in charge of this investigation so far, I'm looking at very good messaging. They didn't give too much at the press conference, which I think was the proper thing. Here's the vehicle. Here's the picture of the guy. They got that out there quick. That was great. They didn't commit to any firm numbers, which I think is the right thing to do because of the fact we know from these past incidences, we've been in these incidences ourselves in the early stages. A lot of information is incorrect. And it sounds like all the law enforcement agencies in the area are mobilizing now. And I think you're correct, Bill. This thing may go through the night. A search and the hunt for a person like this is going to take some time. And, it could be settled as we speak, and it could be hours from now.
I'm going to replay the live press conference from before.
We will have some of our behavioral health liaisons, counselors on site. And we'll also be providing information as it becomes available to us. As you can imagine, and as you know, there are multiple scenes in the city, to include multiple hospitals, multiple follow-ups, a lot of witnesses we're speaking with, and a lot of leads. The general public has been very cooperative and very forthcoming with information. So I would expect if we have additional information, we'll be happy to come back and share it with you. I know that from the city of Lewiston standpoint, probably going to close City Hall after this briefing and probably move everybody out. But again, we appreciate your partnership and your patience. I would offer to take questions just so you know that I probably won't have answers. And as long as you know that going in, there's no disrespect intended in that. Feel free to ask a couple. And if I think we can get there, then I'm happy to answer those. If not, we do have work to do on behalf of our communities, and that's our primary focus this evening.
There are many specific figures about casualties are out there. The sheriff Sampson told me up as many as 20. I just want to give you the opportunity to set the record straight on that.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. And I know that there's been a lot of numbers out there. This is a very fluid situation. So the last thing I want to come up is give you a number and then 3 hours from now, change that in one direction or another. So I don't have firm numbers on that. And when I do, we'll be happy to share those with you, because it's an important piece of healing and it's an important piece of information for all of us to be aware of. But I don't have a firm number on that.
But at least 16.
I think I just answered that question to say that I'm not
Good for you.
any specific numbers. And there's been a lot of numbers all over the map all evening. And I don't think that that's helpful because it doesn't help family members. It certainly doesn't help the community to see, well, they just said this and they said that. So if you want accurate information, I'm prepared to give that to you when I have it. I don't have that right now.
Does the suspect have no criminal history, law enforcement, someone who's been on the radar of state police or local police, to your knowledge?
Well, Mr. Card, who we're speaking about right now, is a person of interest and a person of interest only, right? I'm not listing him as a suspect at this point, and we're not prepared to go into his background or anything else that we may be aware of. One more question?
You don't look for one shooter, correct?
We're looking for this person of interest right now, and that's what we'll label and list and speak about at this particular moment. When we have additional information, I'm happy to share that. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Again, thank you for your time. And I know Assistant City Manager O'Malley will make arrangements, I think, to move everybody out of the building. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
A very generic press conference, but you have to understand he doesn't have a lot of information right now. He realizes that things are in flux, things are in constant changing. What good would it do for him to say there's 22 dead and then tomorrow they find out there's 14? That sort of makes you look stupid. So as a city manager, as a director of public safety, I think he wants to err on the side of caution. And that's what he did. And I understand that, why he's doing that. And, the press wants instant information. And in a situation like this, that's not possible. And, I always used to say when I was on the police department, you want information, I'll tell it to you. You want accurate information, you're going to have to wait hours for it, because the information I could give you right now is not going to be accurate because I don't know it,
That sounds like you're talking to a higher up, Bill, right there.
Yeah, no, because they demand the information.
Exactly.
And guess what? I don't have it. You want me to tell you something? I'll tell you it, but it's not going to be accurate. So is that what you want?
Did you catch his title? What'd you say he was?
Director of Public Safety.
Public Safety. Okay. Whoever he was, he apparently has done this before. He was very good. He didn't commit to too many things. But like you said, it was a press conference. But again, one of the reporters, he says, I'm not going to say how many victims there are because we really don't know at this point, but it's still fluid. And then the reporter, asked the same question. He goes, I just answered that question. I thought he handled himself very well. Messaging very good on this. That's important in a lot of these, breaking news stories when you have good messaging right from the beginning. The public needs to know certain things, the vehicle they put out, the picture they put out. Again, you don't want to be walking up the block and this guy's coming at you. You see the vehicle or something like that. So again, they did their due diligence. I think so far so good, in my opinion. Law enforcement working together. The person that did the press conference was pretty good, I thought. So again, let's just hope and pray that there's no more bloodshed, that this thing comes to an end. Whether or not this guy's taken alive is another story, but obviously a sick individual, mental health issues, got his hands on a weapon and did some damage tonight. And before we go to bed, we should just keep a little prayer for the victims and for the people who were injured in this horrible mass shooting.
Absolutely. We want to think about the victims who right now, we don't know the names of the victims, but we know there's numerous victims, numerous people that have been shot that may not be deceased. And we hope that the number doesn't increase. The number, we don't know what the number is right now.
Right.
We don't know an accurate number. But again, we pray for all the victims of this senseless tragedy.
And we pray for the first responders, the law enforcement agencies that are responding to this incident. We hope and pray that none of them get hurt trying to arrest, stop this individual. Like I said earlier, what's being reported is he's a firearms instructor, so he knows how to handle a firearm. That's a very dangerous thing in my mind, and everything has to be done with caution when it comes to the law enforcement officers, and they're out there, in the dark of night, protecting the public. And it's incidences like this when you see a huge police presence and you see the law enforcement agency working together, when you want to just spit up when you hear people talk about defund the police. So again, if there was defunding of the police in that area of Maine, perhaps this could have been a much worse tragedy. And listen, it's not over yet, but we have some great law enforcement officers that have stepped up to the plate, and I'm sure they're going to do what they have to do to bring this individual to justice.
100%, folks. That's going to be our presentation tonight, an unscheduled live show on an active shooter in Lewiston, Maine. Obviously, this story is continuing. He remains unapprehended. We hope for a positive conclusion to this, even though apparently there's been a lot of people who have lost their lives in this situation. Prayers for all the victims' families, and the town of Lewiston, Maine. Phil?
Just want to say, God bless all the victims and their families, like you just said, Billy. And God, please protect all the first responders and the law enforcement officers that are trying to apprehend and stop this individual.
Good night, everyone. Police Off the Cuff, real crime stories.
Stay safe, everyone.
One episode just ain't enough.